Welcome to Swipe from a brew house this week, and it's a special one. The first of its kind in the UK, I'm told. We're going to be talking tech tipples in just a few minutes, and here's what else is coming up for you on this week's show. Thomas gets hands-on with robotics to boost the next generation of tech talent. And Tamoor's getting nostalgic with a major new release and a classic franchise. That's all to come for you after a quick look at some of the tech news headlines that grabbed our attention this week. We saw billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk promoting his latest venture, flamethrowers, this week. According to Musk, his company sold out of the $500 blowtorch-like products within days. But even his promise to ship all flamethrowers with a complimentary fire extinguisher is unlikely to appease anyone concerned about safety. Officials in the US are investigating whether Apple misled investors by not telling them about a software update that slowed down older iPhones. The tech firm is facing a wave of lawsuits surrounding the issue. Apple says the update was designed to stop devices abruptly shutting down due to low battery. Renault has been showing us what it would be like to travel in its new concept car. The Symbioz demo car is electric and autonomous, so a driver can use the journey time to do other things, like slip on a virtual reality headset and pretend they're somewhere else, for example. You know those fears about robots taking our jobs? Check out Japan's first robot cafe with a robot barista named Sawyer. He or she can apparently serve up to 5 cups of coffee at a time. The manager says having fewer human staff members means they can increase productivity and serve coffee at a reasonable price. We'll be getting a look around this special brew house in a couple of minutes. But first, there was no beer for Thomas, and rightly so, when he went to find out how one British company is helping raise the next generation of coders and robot creators.
As markets move, classrooms must change to train a generation of kids in the skills of the future. That's the goal of Colchester-based firm Rapid Education. They've partnered with Vex Robotics to bring the latest in high-end learning tools to schools.
The V5 was just released and announced about 2 weeks ago. This is our UK unveil here. So we're really excited to bring this new technology into the classroom. This allows us to bring some of the new high-end technology concepts like full-color touchscreens like smartphones and vision tracking systems like smart cars and autonomous vehicles.
And that's when it takes out my terrible driving.
Exactly. It can improve that just a little bit.
As the curriculum evolves to include more advanced STEM subjects, that is, science, technology, engineering and mathematics, robotics and coding are starting to play a very big role. The robots provided here cater for all levels of learning, from 7-year-olds in Key Stage 2 right up to university-level training. The new V5 system aims to make that learning and teaching experience more accessible, with smartphone-style screens offering new colour detection technology.
So it goes red when it sees red, it goes blue when it sees blue.
It's not just in the classroom that this technology has been used, is it? You also run competitions.
Absolutely. Today there's about 20,000 teams across 40 countries that compete in new games that are released every year.
Rapid are also getting kids hands-on with everyone's favourite gadget.
We got into drones really because we were looking for a project that was very design-led. A lot of schools have 3D printers and are looking at manufacturing as a process, but finding a really good project to attach 3D printing as a process to was very difficult. What that allowed us to do was provide simple electronics to the students and get them to think about the design of the drone itself. How do I go about making a drone frame? What elements do I need to consider? Is it strength? Is it weight? Is it flexibility?
As a new wave of graduates enter the workforce, they will do so with a set of skills unimagined a decade ago when I was at school. For now, I'll stick to the simpler stuff. Thomas Newton, Sky News.
So what is a tech show like Swipe doing in a brew house? It'll make sense once you hear about the £2.5 million cutting-edge system they've got here at 4Pure in London.
This is the brew house.
It's been said that beer came before bread, but I wonder what ancient brewers would have made of the high-tech, shiny new brewing system that's apparently increased this company's output by 400%.
We have 4 vessels, a mash tun, a lauter tun, a kettle, and a whirlpool. Every process that we used to do manually, that we used to have to climb into vessels with a shovel to empty them out, that's automated now. We used to have to control valves by hand to sort of mix temperatures, and that's automated now. Everything that we want control over, we have that control.
Is this now live inside the vessels?
Yeah, so everything that we saw upstairs is represented on the screen here.
Here's where much of that control is centred. Real-time information for each vessel with volumes, pressures, temperatures and flow rates.
I can open a valve by touching it on the screen. I can turn on a pump. I can do anything that I want. In the olden days, we used to have to climb up on top of vessels and open and close valves ourselves.
And when you say olden days, how long ago are we talking?
Like a month ago.
The actual brewing time, on average of around 4 weeks from grain to can, hasn't changed since the new system arrived. But the brewhouse says it's producing 4 times the amount of beer that it used to.
This is where we can all our beer. We do about 12,000 cans per hour.
And is this a fully automated system?
Yeah, fully automated, state-of-the-art. Most craft breweries would be canning their beer at maybe a quarter the speed.
The new brewing technology also means the company can create new flavours.
Not too slow.
You said pull it.
Yeah, but all the way. Don't.
Sadly, though, there's no tech on site to help perfect the art of pouring a pint.
We don't want to encourage an unhealthy lifestyle here on Swipe, but after bringing you beer, we're now going to bring you video games. Tamoor has been reviewing his pick of the latest releases.
The first big release of 2018 is Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. Street Fighter V was actually released in 2016, but it was missing a few key features that would have made it fun for everyone. And those are here in Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. The big new addition is actually arcade mode, which channels nostalgia. It's like the classics you remember, like Street Fighter 2, in which you fight a series of opponents and then end with a boss fight and get a cool ending. Except this time they're really leaning hard into nostalgia. It's the 30th anniversary of the series, so they're going back and making everything look like Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter Alpha, and a few other classics that you might remember. All the characters that have been released since Street Fighter V originally launched is going to be included in the version that you buy of Arcade Edition. If you already own it, you get it as a free upgrade. So Street Fighter V Arcade Edition is the full rounded experience. It's got plenty bang for your buck, and it's a game that anyone can pick up and anyone can have fun with.
I wouldn't put money on your chances of walking out of here.
In episode 4 of Batman: The Enemy Within, the Joker finally arrives in Gotham, except he's always kind of been there. You originally meet him as John Doe in Arkham Asylum, and over time you establish a friendship with him. Bruce Wayne and Batman work alongside this character, using him for information and helping him complete missions. However, these games are all about choice and consequence, and in episode 4 you're forced to face what happens when you mistreat a character who's on the edge. Whether you've treated him poorly or whether you've been kind to him impacts the kind of character that he becomes in the future. On the one hand, you may get a character who shows sympathy and shows empathy towards other people. However, on the other, you may get the stone cold Joker that we all know and love. Episode 4 of Batman: The Enemy Within is compelling, and as it's the penultimate episode, it sets the stage for a thrilling finale. The final game I'm going to be talking about is Shadow of the Colossus for PlayStation 4. It's one of the greatest games of all time, so if you haven't already played it, you definitely need to check it out. You play as Wanda, who travels to a weird, far-off land alongside his trusty steed Agro. There he's hoping to find and kill a series of colossi, and in doing so, bring back a loved one. This is one of the greatest games of all time for a number of reasons. It's got an incredibly foreboding, somber atmosphere. It's got these majestic creatures, and in 2018 it looks better than ever. Sony have gone back and rebuilt the game from scratch, but importantly they've not touched the finite details of it, so it actually feels more like restoring a classical painting. This is a must play for anyone that has a PlayStation 4.
Well, that's it for this week's show. Join us again for more Swipe next week, and in the meantime follow us on Twitter @Sky News Swipe. Bye bye.